We're good to go, sir. We're good to go, Sergeant.
All right, come on.
Are you the bailiff on this case?
Yeah, because I'm pretty much the only one available to do it.
That's awesome.
Give me a couple more minutes.
All right. Just get me when they're ready.
Yes, Art.
Check your email.
All right, we ready to proceed then?
I'm ready if the defense, if the prosecution's ready.
Ma'am?
Give me 1 moment.
Yeah, sure. Flag me down when you're ready.
All right.
All right, we're ready.
All right, sounds good. Your Honor, all parties are ready. All rise. The Honorable Judge Hammond now presiding. Court is now in session.
Okay. Defense and prosecution. Defense, if you had ample time to review the evidence submitted by the prosecution.
Yes, sir.
You have to
Yes, Your Honor.
speak with your chest, John. There we go. All right, and I assume the prosecution has no more evidence to present.
No, Your Honor, not at this time.
Okay, 1 second. All right, the state of San Andreas versus Antwan Joint.
Shit.
The defendant is accused of the following:
You gotta bring my client back up.
first-degree aggravated fleeing and eluding of a Leo, kidnapping. What has happened?
Cecil, bring up the
Bring
up the guy.
The defense.
Gagefoot.
Your Honor.
That was my fuck up.
Defendant.
That was me.
All right. Okay, as I was reading, the defendant, Antwan Joint, has been accused of first-degree aggravated fleeing and eluding of a Leo, kidnapping, possession of a firearm or concealed weapon with a history of violent crime, aggravated possession of a controlled substance, dangerous discharge of a firearm. Mr. Antwan Joint, or I should say, counsel, how does your client plead?
Your Honor, not to interrupt, but also murder. Those were his most recent charges. He's got two incidents and 2 charges.
Okay, so there's more than one report?
Yes.
There's more than one arrest report. Is there more than one arrest report? Because I only have one arrest report.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All of this should be put on the same arrest report. So
Well, they're 2 separate incidents. One was from the October 4th incident, and one was from the incident leading to his arrest.
You're gonna have to hold on.
Your Honor, the
Well-
only court case that I'm tracking here is the murder.
The state is fine with proceeding on the murder case today. If we want to deal with the most recent charges relating to his arrest on a separate occasion, we can do that.
But to answer your question from earlier, my client's pleading not guilty, Your Honor.
Okay, I only have one arrest report in my pending cases, right? I don't have any additional arrest reports. So is there an additional arrest report here? Because the charges I have before me don't include murder.
Caesar, can you provide the judge with the arrest report for the case that we're here for today?
Your Honor, I'll pull it up for you because I did send it into the original ticket.
No. It's not in the original ticket. You submitted a warrant. That's not an arrest report. So if you have an arrest report, I need an arrest report. I don't need warrant reports. So did you produce an arrest report?
Yes, Your Honor, that has the charges under that, and then also the warrant has the separate charges for the warrant.
Drop
So-
the attitude, detective.
Yes, sir. So the arrest has separate charges compared to the warrant. So the warrant has do you want me to read it off to you, or do you want me to combine
Just
it?
give him the case number.
All right. The 1 second, Your Honor. So where is it? Antwan joins arrest. That would be
That's fine. The bailiff gave it to me.
all right. Yeah, 10. You got the other one though.
Yeah, I gave him 10,598. I know the one.
Yes, perfect.
All right, thank you, Caesar.
Okay, I am going to combine these two into one because your initial ticket said warrant Caesar with this number, right, and not the arrest. So, just for future reference, if you can just put arrest on both so that the court knows that they're both a part of the same arrest and that one is not a pending warrant.
Yes,
So
Your Honor.
let me pull that up.
Find some court appropriate music.
All right. In addition to the previous charges that I read off, the suspect is also being charged with habitual carrying of a firearm while committing an offense, possession of a Leo weapon class 2, first degree murder, felony murder of a civilian, kidnapping, armed robbery, and possession of Leo weapons class 1. Once again, counsel, how does your client plead?
Your Honor, he pleads not guilty to all charges on both cases.
I understand. Okay. I'm going to just put both of these cases into the same document here. I will allow for the first stage of opening statements. Let the prosecution go ahead. Your opening statement just needs to be a brief summarization of the argument you're going to make here today.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. And again, the estate apologizes for any confusion with regard to this case. Hopefully, we're on track now. The evidence today is going to show that Dallas Bozeman was a beloved officer with BCSO and that he was kidnapped at gunpoint, restrained with his own handcuffs, and taken to a cold, musty warehouse near the Moretta oil fields. This is where Officer Bozeman spent his final hours on this earth before he was savagely and brutally beaten by defendant Antwan Joint. He was tortured in that warehouse. And the evidence will show that defendant Joint brutally and savagely tortured him for an extended period of time. He lost teeth, his nails were ripped from his hands, and an F was carved into his chest. And the F, Your Honor, is a key point in this case, as it shows that it stands for Form Drive Families, a gang in this community. And the evidence will show through testimony today that this was a gang retaliation event against law enforcement. Officer Bozeman endured a slow and painful death, a death that no human being deserves, but particularly not a peace officer, a man who selflessly dedicated his life to protecting and serving our dear citizens here in Los Santos. Due to the grotesque disregard for the value of human life and the injury and loss of more life just to bring defendant Joint here before the court, he is a dangerous career criminal, and we're bringing him today to have justice be dealt on this man. We're seeking a prison term of life with the possibility of parole after 2,500 months and subsequent probation monitoring in the event that parole is ever granted. That is our recommendation for sentencing in this case. And I respectfully submit that the evidence is going to speak for itself, Your Honor, that this was a heinous, long, painful death that justice needs to be served. Thank you.
Defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Truman Justice Defense. It is sad when we have loss of life, even that of a police officer or an ordinary civilian. We can all agree on this, yes? Mr. Joint here is not guilty of the crimes committed because he has a criminal history, yes. Has he done bad things? Yes. But where Mr. Bozeman was found, he works in that oil field. Mr. Joint, excuse me, Your Honor, Joint has been targeted by law enforcement viciously due to his criminal history. Let him go on his own recognizance. If any charges are filed, serve no more than 500 months.
Okay.
That's all, Your Honor.
I will let the prosecution will go ahead and present their case, including evidence and witnesses.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. The prosecution calls Officer Ellington as its first witness. Please go ahead and have a seat.
Sergeant, if you want to swear him in, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Right. Investigator Ellington, at this time, do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you? Meh.
Yes.
Thank you.
So help you God, Sergeant. State your full name for the court record, please.
Officer Peter Ellington.
Thank you.
All right, may I proceed, Your Honor?
Yep.
Gonna do it.
All right, Officer Ellington, thank you so much for appearing before the court today. Why don't you explain to the court how you got involved in this case?
So how I got involved in this case was when I first started working back with the Los Santos State Police Department. I went to my normal shift briefing, which stated we normally talk around the room, sorry, our ideas, what we got going on for today, stuff like that. But it was interrupted by a couple officers hollering that we needed to cancel this day's shift briefing, and we are going to go to the Marietta oil fields to investigate a crime because Dallas Bozeman was murdered.
And so, please tell us how you ended upon the scene and what you saw there.
It just
Upon the
depends.
scene, I believe
This is a big
it
case because
was
a cop got murdered.
either 9 or all 10 fingernails were ripped off of Dallas Bozeman. We found a rusty spike or strip of some sort with a piece that was broken off of it with blood and a strip of skin on it. We also found a bunch of Bozeman's teeth that were presumably knocked out of his mouth and laying there on the ground as well.
Can you tell us, give us a picture of what the scene looked like? We understand it was at the Marietta oil fields. Why don't you describe what that scene looked like for the court?
It was in pretty much, as I could describe it, a three-sided building with one open-sided with dumpsters and a bunch of other construction equipment inside of it.
Yeah,
And where we found Dallas Bozeman was right beside to almost inside of the dumpster. And the dumpster was more of one that was kind of more three-sided as well. It had one empty side with the
I'm keeping it
doors
simple.
unhinged and not on it currently.
And how was the scene secured at the time of your arrival?
Apparently
The
it's an
scene was
arrangement of
secured
box per kilo.
by I cannot remember who the officers were, but two other officers, myself and Caesar, we put barricades around the whole perimeter, made sure we had one person stand watch to make sure no one came in or out.
And what else did you see on the scene? Was there any other evidence that was visible?
There was two sets of tire tracks.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you do upon arrival at the scene?
One thing we did was we got moldings of all the footprints. There's three sets of footprints that came in. We molded the tire tracks as well, gathered all the evidence, the teeth, the bags, the rusty metal object. Pretty
And
much just gathered all the evidence, observed how Bozeman was killed
It's
and stuff like that.
Sessions. Oh, Judge Hammond.
and what did you do with the evidence that you collected there?
After on scene, we brought it in our locked storage container from our police cruisers after collecting it individually, bagging it with numbers chronologically ordered. And then we brought it to Davis PD and sent it off to the lab.
Okay. And is there anything else that you would like to add about your investigation that you think that is relevant for the court to hear today?
None at this time.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
Defense, I'll allow your cross-examination.
How you doing, officer?
Good, how are you?
How long have you been a police officer here with the Los Santos or CI?
3-4 months?
3 or 4 months. So in your 3 or 4 months on duty, can you say you may have made a mistake?
Of course.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll get to the relevance.
On what
in a minute.
grounds?
On the grounds that cross-examination is limited to the scope of direct examination, and there is no evidence of mistake or inadvertence. This is entirely unrelated to the direct examination.
Defense?
I'll withdraw that.
I'm allowing you to make your argument before I make a ruling on the objection she's given.
Okay. So the reason is because there's some things, evidence I've looked at that do not coincide the report by another officer that he was involved in the case. But I want to prove something real quick.
And
I'll
you're
withdraw.
you're challenging the officer's credibility?
Not so much the credibility, but just the human factor in the performance of this duty.
I'm going to allow it on a very limited capacity. So you better get to your point
Yes,
very
yes,
quickly here.
So, officer, how well do you know? How much interaction have you had with my client, Mr. Antwan Joy?
I actually live up the block from him. We're on pretty opposite schedules. I'd say interacted with him maybe 2-3 times at most, face to face.
Have you ever interacted with him in a professional or official capacity?
No.
Okay, but are you aware of what his criminal history is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, do you believe that he is the one that committed murder and all these other crimes
Yes.
based on what?
All the evidence that we have compiled.
Okay. That's all I have right now, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you have a redirect that you want to utilize?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Officer Ellington, have you ever been penalized or reprimanded in your capacity as a law enforcement officer for making any sort of errors in your job duties?
Only with my attire.
Fair enough. So as far as your reputation within the department, you don't have any reprimands or anything like that. You're an upstanding officer.
Nope, nothing.
Thank you. No further questions.
You finished with this witness?
Yes, I am. I have no other questions. More
Investigator
questions for
Ellington,
this.
you can go ahead and step down.
All right, we can call our next witness, Your Honor.
You're going to have to make sure that you shout in this courtroom.
My apologies. Can you hear me okay? So the state would like to call Officer Park.
Have a seat. Trooper Park, at this time, do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Can you state for the court record your full name, Trooper?
Taejun Park.
You're gonna have to spell Taejun for me.
Oh.
Is it Taejeun?
Taejoon Park.
Got it. Okay, prosecution.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. All right, Officer Park, can you explain for the court how you got involved on this case?
Yes. So I was originally in pursuit of a stolen SUV that was opposite on the outside side of town. The chase led us to the oil fields where the suspect originally spun out, crashed, and in fact blew up. So we were securing the scene, and as we were securing the scene, we received a anonymous 911 phone call stating something along the lines of who's looking for Bozeman in reference to Deputy Dallas Bozeman. So as we secured the scene, myself as well as another deputy, Deputy Watson, went to go search for the origin of the 911 call. And as we were doing so, we came across the origin of the 911 call, and we found Deputy Bozeman and what can I only describe as a very horrific scene. Seeing him on the ground behind what appears to be like a dumpster in like this hangar looking building with like 3 walls, a roof, and one opening. It's like a hangar kind of behind a dumpster with his teeth knocked out, his nails ripped out, and a F carved into his chest. I tried to perform CPR on him and try to get him a pulse. We tried to call EMS, no EMS was available. So myself, Watson, Under Sheriff Franco, and I believe one other officer, I believe it was, I don't remember who it was. We self-transported him to Pillbox Medical, and then there was a EMS, I believe it was Desmond who was there. They did everything they could to save Deputy Bozeman, but to no avail.
Okay. And did you conduct any investigation of the scene apart from transporting the decedent's body?
Negative.
Okay. As far as the security of this scene, were you able to observe how the scene was secured?
No, I was not there to secure the scene. I was only there when we initially found Deputy Bozeman.
Okay. So, is there anything else that you would like to add to your testimony that you think that the court would find relevant for today's proceedings?
Yes, so as we were dealing with the stolen vehicle call, as we were trying to secure the scene, I did witness multiple vehicles driving in and out of the oil fields at the time, which is coincidentally around that same time that 911 phone call came in. And I did recognize one vehicle that stood out. It was a green Sunrise that drove by. And then another couple vehicles drove by too. But I did recognize that green Sunrise coming from the original location of where that 911 phone call came in.
Okay. And was there any further investigation following your transport of the decedent regarding this case, or was that the conclusion of your involvement?
That was the conclusion of my involvement.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Defense? Allow you cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Officer Park.
Good afternoon.
How are you? So you said you were in the area where you saw a green sunrise come from there where Officer Bozeman was found, right?
Yes.
Okay. So did you see who was in the vehicle?
No, sir. It was nighttime during my chase. I didn't see who was in the vehicle. The vehicle had blacked out windows.
So you were pretty hyped up on adrenaline, correct?
Yes, sir. We were just in a chase.
Okay. So you were dealing with another suspect, right?
At the moment, Yes, but he was already secured. We were already getting him medical treatment, and I was on watch to make sure
Okay.
no other additionals came in to try and save him.
No, that's understandable. You're doing a great job on security, sir. From the area, how far were you from the area where Mr. Bosem's body was found?
So we were only a few hundred yards away from when we found from the location of where the chase ended to where Deputy Bozeman was found.
Okay. So you say in your report, right? You had a license plate leaving the scene of a green sunrise read BEAU, right? Partial plate.
I personally did not see the plate. I did see it was a green sunrise.
Objection,
well.
Your Honor. This evidence was not presented on direct. He's testifying new evidence.
Okay, well, it's in the report.
I am gonna overrule that because you did submit both of these reports. The defense here is quoting a report that you submitted before the court, so I'll allow it.
So,
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
so Officer Park. Around what time was this supposed chase going on with the other suspect when you saw the vehicle drive off?
So the chase ended, I want to say 20 minutes to 30 minutes before tsunami. And
Okay.
then that's when we got the 911 phone call. And then we responded to trying to respond to that 911.
So how far was the vehicle saw the supposed green vehicle that you saw driving off? How far away from it was when you noticed it?
So I was still standing pulling security for the chase, and I did see it drive, I believe, westbound toward the streets. He was probably like a few hundred yards away. I did
And this
see
was
it.
at nighttime, right?
It was at nighttime.
How well lit was the area that you noticed the vehicle moving, or did you just see headlights, or how'd you notice it was
Well, there were not headlights, but what do you call it? The lamps that are around the oil fields, as well as the vehicle. The suspect I was chasing was still on fire, so I was able to see. I can tell it was green.
Okay. Have you ever been mistaken on colors or anything?
Hold on 1 second. What was on fire?
So the vehicle, the vehicle that I was chasing, the suspect crashed and the car exploded.
Got it. I understand.
Well, so you said you were a few hundred yards away from where you saw the vehicle exit, where they found the area where they found Mr. Bosem's body, correct?
Correct.
How well was the illumination between you and the area, and how well was the illumination around that area?
I mean, it was pretty lit up by his area because he was driving toward one of the lamps that were set up, and we were still treating the suspect. The vehicles was still on fire. There were still lights, so we were able to note that it was green.
Okay. Did you have to ask anybody else that if the vehicle was green that you saw drive off in that area? Once you noticed,
No.
once you found Mr. Bosem's body? The reason I ask is because you said you had adrenaline going, right? You were hyped up from the chase, possibly of reinforcements of enemy, or let's say backup for your suspect coming in. The reason I ask this is because there's been studies shown that officers in line of duty can
Objection,
mistake.
Your Honor. He's trying to admit expert testimony through his own testimony.
I withdraw.
I'm
I
gonna
withdraw.
sustain that. Go ahead and rephrase your question, please.
Okay. So you're saying Sam Minor hers, Your Honor.
Your question.
Okay. So there's been studies, what I've read,
Objection,
and
Your Honor. I believe that's been ruled on.
Again, you're gonna have to move away from this topic.
okay. So you're saying it was well illuminated, and you were sure it was a green vehicle, correct? But you
Yes.
could not see. You could not see who was in the vehicle.
I could not see who was the driver of the vehicle, but I did see the color of the vehicle.
Okay. Okay. That's all I have for at this time, Your Honor.
Prosecution, do you have a redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Officer Park, is adrenaline a normal part of your job?
I would say yes. I am also a interceptor driver, so I guess you can say I like to chase people who go fast. So adrenaline is definitely a part of my job.
Is it fair to say that you're able to conduct your job duties while under an adrenaline rush?
Yes.
Do you have any doubt in your mind about what you testified today, the color of the vehicle, anything of that nature?
No.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Trooper Park. You can go ahead and step down from the stand. Prosecution, your next witness.
Yes, the prosecution would like to call the medical examiner, Dr. Desmond.
Sergeant.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Oh, sorry. Vitus. Dr. Desmond, at this time, do you swear that your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right.
Can you state your full name, please, for the record?
Dylan Desmond.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Desmond, thank you for joining us this evening. Why don't you explain to the court how you got involved on this case?
So I get a call. I see the officers bring Dallas Bozeman into Pillbot. I see he has no pulse and was in a condition, which I'll get into later. But I tried doing CPR, put some medications, and shocking him with AED. Then I pronounced him dead at 6 p.m. EST on October 4th, 2022.
And did you have an opportunity to conduct an autopsy on Officer Bozeman?
Yes.
Can you explain for the court what your findings were during your autopsy?
So I found bruises were. So I'm going to read my report. Bruises were found all over the body, mainly on the head and chest. Bruising was measured at 2.5 inches by blunt force object or blunt force imprint used. This object was predicted to be a bat and compared to similar bats that we found. The face was examined. I found semi-fully caved in with a blunt force object. Eyes were dripping from the head. Both of his hands were broken. A letter F carved into his chest looks like it could be from a knife, and it measured at about 1 inch deep. There was blunt force trauma to the head, severe bruising on the skull and chest. His skull was cracked on the frontal lobe. I found 9 teeth that still had roots connected, and the teeth were separated from the body with severe ripping in the gums, the teeth were meaning the teeth were ripped out via a toe. I found multiple ribs broken. Both knees were inward, sewn by forced pressure, meaning someone intentionally forced it. All 10 fingernails were forcibly ripped from his hand, looked to be from a toe and very, very slowly from the scarring. There were marks on the wrist, looks to be from handcuffs. Test lab ran shows a metal compound showing that a metal object was used. Gasoline was poured upon the body in mass amounts, causing thrashing. I found no defensive wounds, but due to the fact that he may have been restrained, he was not able to fight back. So my overall cause of death that I found was blunt force trauma.
Thank you, Dr. Desmond. Did you determine what the probable murder weapon was on this case?
I believe from the bruising that I found, it was most likely a bat.
Okay. And, you know, how long have you been a medical examiner?
I would say about a year and a month, so 13 months.
And on all the cases that you have reviewed as a medical examiner, how would you rate this in terms of severity?
Probably a 9 out of 10. It's definitely the second most gruesome murder I have seen.
Okay. And how do you think Officer Bozeman, his last moments on this earth were? Was it a long, painful death, or do you think that he died quickly?
It was a long,
get that guy to
painful
remove his name.
death.
Is it fair to say, in your medical expertise, that he was tortured and brutalized?
Yes.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
Defense?
Good evening, doctor.
Good evening.
So you said you've been a doctor for how long, doctor?
About
Thank you, guys.
maybe a year to a year and a month.
Okay, so how many bodies did you examine, and how long you've been a medical examiner during this time?
I do not know how many bodies I have examined.
Let's just say, let's put it on a scale of a little bit, a lot, medium. Like how many do you think?
Objection, vague, and asked and answered.
Okay. So,
Stained. Move on, please.
so during this, you've seen a lot of blunt force trauma to heads, correct?
Yes.
And you could determine for sure it was a bat.
I said I believed it to be a bat from the bruising.
So you're not 100% sure it was a bat.
From what I found, I do believe it to be a bat, but it could also be a pipe that they found on scene.
Okay, so it could just be a round cylindrical type blood object, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you examine how deeply do you examine the body?
It took me about 2.5 days to fully examine the body.
Okay, and do you do any kind of reports like toxicology or anything during this?
I had a report that I was working on the whole time, and everything. Every time I found something new, I would put on that report immediately.
Oh, okay. So did you do any kind of toxicology report on the body?
Objection relevance to toxicology.
I'm getting there.
I'm going to overrule that and allow him to proceed with his line of questioning.
So did you get a toxicology report? Yes or no, sir?
No.
Okay. That rolls out. So you said the victim had no defensive wounds, correct?
Yes.
Were there any other kind of wounds on his body that would have restricted him from being defensive?
Like I said, I found handcuff marks on his wrist.
Okay. And how good were they in there? Like how deep were the wounds?
Maybe a 16th of an inch or so.
Okay. So was there any other marks over the body, like cuts, anything like that?
Everything that I said, like the F in his chest, and I said all of the marks that I found in my initial statements.
Okay. And how well determined was this letter-shaped F?
It was taking up most of his midsection.
So it was a pretty good size, is what you'd say.
Yes.
Okay. Did you find any other foreign debris inside the body or around the body? And any wounds?
I did find tests that ran found metal compounds in his body and on his body.
Okay. Well, you do know that where he was found, that there was a lot of cylindrical state blunt objects, right? But that are metal.
I was not on the original scene. I took care of it at Pillbox, so I did not.
Well, I'm just saying he may not have been forced. I don't know. I wasn't there, but thank you. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Prosecution?
Thank you. Dr. Desmond, to follow up on that testimony, you mentioned that you weren't able to determine 100% what the weapon that was used to cause the blunt force injury, and that it might have been a bat or some sort of cylindrical metal object. Is that correct?
Yes.
Was, to your knowledge, was there a metal cylindrical object recovered from the scene?
I do not know. That was all taking place from CID.
All right, thank you. Um, as far as your conclusions this eve, do you have any concerns about the accuracy of your findings?
I believe my findings are 99% true, or 99% um, found medically.
Okay, and you are a medical doctor, correct?
Yes.
All right, no further questions. Thank you.
You can go ahead and sit down, Dr. Desmond. Prosecution, your next witness.
Our last and final witness is CID Officer Jeffrey Caesar.
Holy shit. Back for you. Investigator Caesar, at this time, do you swear your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So help me God.
So help you.
Can you please state your full name for the record?
Jeffrey Caesar.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Is it okay if I call you Caesar?
Yes, you can, ma'am.
All right, Caesar. Why don't you
Mr.
tell us how
Antwan, put your phone down in this court, son.
Give me your phone, man.
Sorry.
Prosecution, you can continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Caesar, why don't you tell us how you got involved on this case?
So currently, we ended up getting a 911 call, 1095, stating that there was an officer Bozeman, if anybody was looking for him. So I ended up responding. I arrived and I ended up running in, but I noticed key factors. I noticed there was shoe prints. There was 3 sets of shoe prints going in. Um, Later analyzed that I noticed there was 2 shoe sets coming out. And then when I first arrived, I seen downed Officer Bozeman. He looked like he was mutilated. Looked like a murder kitty came and got him, pretty much. Showed up. There was already officers performing CPR. Right when noticed that, I started investigating. I started taking pictures. I grabbed some of my equipment, secured the scene, made sure the scene was secured, and started documenting all evidence that was before I started gathering.
Okay. And how was the scene secured at the time that you arrived?
They had 3 officers performed on the body. So right when I arrived, it wasn't fully secured, but right when I arrived, I secured it instantly.
And to follow up on the medical examiner's testimony regarding a possible cylindrical metal object as being used as a murder weapon, did you find any metal cylindrical objects on the scene?
Yes, we found a metal pipe on the ground. It had a green cloth attached to it. The green cloth was drenched with blood. We ended up gathering DNA from that.
And that DNA evidence, where was that submitted?
It was submitted to the forensics lab.
And what, if anything, did you get back from forensics on on any DNA on that green cloth?
It came back to Antwan joint.
So we've got Antwan Joint's DNA at the murder scene. Is that what you're testifying?
Yes, ma'am, and also the strip of skin that was found on it as well.
Okay,
Game over.
so skin and DNA transfer on a metal cylindrical object at the.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you mentioned some footprints. Can you elaborate on what that was?
So there was three footprints walking into the hangar itself. These three footprints, the length of the feet span was the walking length. So they weren't running, they weren't sprinting, they weren't any of that. They were walking. There was three going in: a size 10.5, a size 11, and a size 14. We concluded that size 14 came back to Dallas Bozeman's boots, and then there was two prints coming out in the same length they were walking, and it would come to size 11 and size 10.5.
Okay. And what other evidence did you gather at the scene?
So first arriving on the scene, we got the tire threads outside. The first tire thread, there was two sets of vehicle tire threads. First, somehow all the tires were bald on the first vehicle, but then the second vehicle comes back to a sports car tire threads.
And did you determine anything with regard to those tire threads?
Yes, we ended up doing a little more research into it. We connected it to the sunrise, the green sunrise.
And did you conduct any search relating to defendant Joint?
Yes, ma'am. So we had apartment search on his apartment over in Territory Away. We also had a search over in Vista on Tamor McIntyre's house, the known residence of Antwan Joint.
Okay. And what did you find, if anything, during those search warrants that might be relevant today?
At his apartment, we ended up grabbing a toothbrush that we extracted DNA off of it, and we coincided that DNA with the DNA that was found on scene, and it was a positive match with Anton Joint, just to confirm everything.
Okay. And what about with respect to the vehicles? Any vehicle information gathered from the search warrants that might be relevant?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, at Tamor McIntyre's house, we did extract a vehicle. It was a green Sunrise. We ended up running the tires, and it was the exact match to the tires related as green Sunrise.
And did you find any sort of clothing or anything of relevance during the search warrants that might be relevant to this case?
Yes, ma'am. At Antoine's Joint's apartment, we found a size 11 shoe, confirming the size 11 that walked in on and out of the scene. And then we also found a lot of green clothing, uh, coinciding and get pretty much his association with the Green Gang.
And the Green Gang, are they related to Form Drive families?
Yes, ma'am. Their name is Form Drive Families, and on that report of the F being carved in his chest, that F is their symbol.
And there was a variety of exhibits submitted to the court. Let me go through those, in order. And Your Honor, I'm going to reference them as Exhibit 1, 2, 3 in chronological order as they were submitted, if that's okay.
Yeah, proceed.
Okay, so let me pull up the first one. Can you explain what this
Hold on,
first
let me get this
photograph
for you
is?
guys so you can.
Are we looking at the F, ma'am?
Yes.
So the F is going to be
Wait,
the
wait, wait,
design.
wait, wait, wait.
Oh,
Hold
sorry.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I think I can
there's-
put. I think I can put these photos up.
Oh, cool.
Wait, you can put them on the TV?
Let me go see if I can turn it on, Your Honor.
Hold on. Give me one. No, I got it. Give me like 2 minutes or like
Yes, sir.
a minute.
Yeah, take your time.
Oh, I thought that worked. Hold on. That work? Oh, I guess that did not work. Okay. Might be for videos only. You're just going to have to reference the photo. Sorry.
All right, my apology. I think that'd be something great to add later, but we'll deal with what we have today. Um, all right. So with regard to the first photo, why don't you explain what that is?
So the first photo is going to be the F. Pretty much for the form drive family, it's a symbol. They have a special design with a crown on top that swirls around. It's more of a sate. What is it? It's a French symbol for royalty. Royalty. That's pretty much their form drive symbol.
And how do you know that information? Is that through your experience with CID?
It was confirmed with GTF and our fellow CID members. Yes.
Okay. And how does that compare to what you saw on the body?
It was They tried to carve that. They did not do a very good job, but they did their best trying to carve that symbol upon Dallas's Bozeman's chest.
Okay. Let's take another look at the next exhibit, Exhibit 2. Can you explain what that is?
This picture is going to be Officer Bozeman on the floor with the three officers trying to perform CPR. The teeth are missing. If you look upon it, you could see his teeth missing, his fingernails. You could see the F on his chest. It's a very mutilated, brutal picture.
And what about Exhibit 3, the third picture? What if anything is relevant on that photo for our purposes today?
So if you look the third
You're
picture, the
welcome.
first blood sample that was before his body, that blood sample, you could see that they whacked him over the face first. That's where I believe the first splatter dropped on the floor from a
Yo, we
forensic
putting an
blood
exhibit
analyst. And
inside
then
your
also,
exhibit.
Let me stop
yes,
you for a moment there. Where is this photo
How's it
with
going?
respect to the body?
it's 2 feet from the body.
Okay, go ahead.
And then if you look directly 3 feet above the blood sample, you can also see the garbage. This is where the metal pipe with the blood, the green bloody cloth,
Um,
and the skin that was
like
found.
I like what I have
And
now.
that was the object
They
that
just
had the
roll
DNA
up as the
match to
months go on.
defendant joint, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and let's go on to Exhibit 4. Can you tell us about
Oh, it's
that?
a beer can. It's the beer can for my background. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
the that's the thing.
Those footprints right there, those are the size 14 that come back to Dallas Bozeman.
Okay. Um, let's go down
What I
to
really
Exhibit
need is some
5. What do we have there?
more emo.
Oh, are you speaking, sir?
Yep, there we go. If you look upon the next one, you can see that size 10.5 shoe molding. It comes back to Air with the threading comes back to Air Jordans. And then the second shoe print also comes back to the it's a size 11 and it comes back to a standard boot.
Okay. Let's take a look at the next exhibit. Can you explain what that one is?
Yes, ma'am. That's a size 11 also. That was fresh right on the scene, right arriving.
And when you conducted the search warrant, you mentioned that there were some shoes that were matched up. Can you remind me what that was?
Yes, the size 11 shoes that we found in comes back we compared it to Antwan joint size that we ended up gathering at his apartment, and that size comes back to size 11 as well.
Okay, thank
And
you.
that also coincides with the shoes that the prince walking out of the hanger as well.
Okay, perfect. And then the next picture, what do we have there?
That is a more up close look of the pipe and the blood dripping off of it. So it was a pretty in depth. Um, Antoine, when he fell or however with this pipe, he scraped himself pretty good, ripping out a big clunk of skin and a decent amount of blood from it.
Okay. And then the next photo, what are we looking at there?
The next photo is going to be the sunrise that we seized from Tamor McIntyre's house. This is this car that we compared to the forensic analyst from the moldings and the other evidence that we gathered, and this is confirmed that this car was the car that was used on scene.
Okay. And is there any question in your mind that the evidence connects defendant joint to the murder of Dallas Bozeman?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And I just had a couple questions with regard to the search warrant of, you said it was Tamor's residence?
Yes, ma'am.
Was Tamor arrested in any capacity regarding this incident?
Yes, ma'am. Tamor was literally hiding in the closet when we breached the house.
And what
Eh,
happened with regard to Tamor?
We end up detaining him for that moment, unknown who he was. We detained him, and then for our safety, we searched him. We ended up having we found a weapon on him. He confirmed his identity with us. We ended up, as we detained him, we knew he was a felon, so we detained the weapon, and we arrested him from that moment on during the search.
And so was he transported down to a holding facility?
Yes, ma'am, but this did not happen because till probably around 20 minutes after the original arrest, due to the fact that we were getting CID and SWAT were getting shot at by a green comment.
Can you elaborate what happened there?
Yes, SWAT and CID were pinned in the neighborhood of Vista Road. We were pinned as this car was driving around and literally playing cat and mouse with AKs blasting at our SWAT and CID members.
Were any officers injured as a result of executing that search warrant to find evidence about defendant Joint?
Yes, ma'am. We had three normal patrol officers down and one SWAT member down.
Okay. Um and you you brought Tamor down to the station, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And what, if anything, happened upon his intake into the facility?
As I was processing him, he was in the cell and he said he wanted to call one person before he got sent off, and I agreed. He ended up going on his phone and he called a person unknown at the time till he quote, let me give you the exact quote. Till he quote said, "Antwan, run and move everything. They are onto you." Quote.
Wow. Okay. Um, is there anything else you would like to add, Caesar?
Yes, ma'am. During my investigation abilities, I ended up getting W-2s from Antwan Joint's record. He does work at Skull Island. He does not have any work record in that area. Also,
Yeah, I know.
I just want to
I
point
caught
out
it
all
too.
the weeks and
There was some
manpower that
rejection that should have happened
CID
in
and
there.
SWAT has put into this. Um, it was a very, very tiring process trying to find and trying to pin this man to this. From It was a very difficult
Objection,
process,
Your
but we
Honor.
did it.
Narrative.
All right. And a lot of injuries sustained to bring him here today.
Objection, Your
Yes,
Honor.
ma'am.
Narrative.
All right.
More than normal.
Not a question.
All right. Thank you. No further questions.
Sit down, Caesar. Defense.
Sorry. Oops.
Just give me a second. I'm about to pass some dehydration here, Judge. One second. What do you prefer to be calling Mr. Caesar, Jeffrey? What would you prefer to call this court of law?
As the prosecutor already asked, that Caesar would be fine.
Okay. Well, Caesar, how long you been a police officer, sir?
For around 3 years, I took a couple retirements, but I've been around for 3 years. Yes.
So, what's your age?
Uh, Around I believe 57.
57. What else have you done in life?
I was in the Navy. Um,
Hmm.
yes, sir. I was in the Navy. I was also a detective over in Liberty City.
So you've been a detective. You've done investigations in other places, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh. So, how long have you been in law enforcement total with the retirements in this city?
Around 20 years. 20
Yeah,
plus.
there is.
Okay. And how long have you been CID?
I've been in CID in Los Santos for if you combine all my time, excluding retirement, I would say probably around a year.
And that's total CID.
Yes.
So I've looked at your reports. They're pretty thorough, of course, sir. You did a pretty good job.
Yes, sir.
And I'm assuming,
I put as much work as possibly into these reports.
I'm assuming thoroughness and consistency is needed to do your job as a detective or investigator.
Yes, because we end up getting cross-examined and manipulated.
Okay. What do you mean manipulation? Can you answer that for the court?
Um, Usually lawyers tend to try to manipulate facts and make it seem like they're not what they are.
Okay. So let's talk about your report real quick.
Yes.
So my client is Antwan Joint. You know this, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you please spell his name?
ANTWAN space JOINT.
Interesting, interesting. So I have your report here. Let's see. 10598, right? I'm assuming this is the one. This is one of the first degree and all that. So
Can I please pull that up so I could
yes,
recall
yes,
to
yes.
that?
Go ahead.
Is this the arrest warrant?
I'm not sure. I just know it was on the 14th.
So this would be the
It's case number 10598.
this would be his.
Objection, Your Honor. Are we
I'm
going
getting to
over
that.
spelling issues? Like, what's the
Hold on,
relevancy
hold on,
here?
hold on. We're getting there.
Overruled. Like I said, you submitted the reports as evidence on your side. The defense has ample opportunity to go through those reports.
All right, fair enough. Thank you, Your Honor.
So let me know when you're good, Mr. Caesar.
Yes, sir. The arrest warrant that we pushed out.
Okay,
Is this
so
what you're looking at?
yes, sir. So this paragraph right here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got Antwan Joint right there at the number 1. But we look
Mhm.
down here where it says, look at 4108 as seen by the major number Antwan. And I don't know who's this Antony Joint is. That's not
Can
consistent.
you please clarify where this is?
So if you look at the fifth line, it says report number hashtag 4108 as seen in the report number. And I don't know how to say that name Joint. It's directly related to the murder of Dallas Bozeman.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's not very consistent, is it?
Um, Making some 3-letter critical error. I would still say that's consistent because I guarantee it.
Well,
Most people nowadays cannot spell their name correctly.
well, I could take that as a different person. And then let's see, 2 lines later, you can see in the report in twin joints DNA. So what do you meant by twin joint? Is
I'm
that
currently looking at the report.
because it looks like you tried to spell Antwan, but you put twin instead of Antwan.
Yes, sir. That must have been a critical error, but uh, this report was between CID, so this could have been
Okay,
m-
I understand,
mistaken by any CID
but
members.
whose name is on the case report? So,
It would be considered mine,
okay,
the 227, 240, 247, 185, 182, and 421, sir. That's who's
okay.
on the report.
But whose name is on the report as far as the number as the case officer?
Bruh.
Sir, I just read you all the people that were
No,
on
no, no,
this
no.
report.
When I pull up Antwan Joint, I look at the date. This report right here, the case officer says Jeffrey.
Yes, sir, because only registers one person when there is
Okay,
multiple
okay.
people working on it.
So let's go down this in the first paragraph, right? And I'm gonna pull up the exhibits with the cars, the pictures of the cars.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see. And you got 2. So you said, this is the second last line. Seeking leaving the scene, like BEAU, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll go to a little further down report. Let me find it. Not in this one. So go to report. And we're looking at report, not the rest report. Report 4108.
1 sec. Okay, I'm looking at 4108.
Okay, give me a second to find. It's like 47. Let me find the paragraph here. Okay. Go down the sections evidence gained from Dallas Bozeman's patrol car. Not the dash cam footage. We're going to see this. It was put in the report.
1 second, sir. Let me find it.
Evidence 3B.
All right, sir. I'm over it. I'm looking right at it.
All right, give me a second. So it says last four 77XJ.
Yes. Wait. Can you repeat that? Which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at reports, not arrest reports, but a report.
Yes, I'm looking right at the one that evidence 3B and 3A.
It's under evidence S. So if you look at the last line of evidence 3B, it says the last plate that comes back to 77XJ.
Yes.
Okay. So here's my question, sir.
Yes.
How can two different plates be on the same vehicle?
So,
This is
sir,
where I'm
if
getting
you
confused.
yes, so sir, if you took your time and read that, that is not the same vehicle. That would be a separate vehicle coming back to a green Comet SF.
Okay. Okay. Well, okay,
And
my
this was
mistake.
also the green Comet that was involved in the shooting that we were talking prior.
Very interesting.
Yes.
So let's go to the photos of the vehicles that were submitted to evidence. What plate number did you came back to Antwan Joints, the BEAU?
Yes. So there was a kind of how can I put it? So the plates were removed after this vehicle was taken pictures of.
Really? Why is that?
From my understanding as an officer, seen this place with his system and his eyes and was able to identify the license plate. Now, when we gathered this car, the license plates were removed.
Well, then how can you be sure that it was my client's car?
Because the tires matched exactly with the exact description of the vehicle.
Well, I mean, that's cool, but did they have anything? And did you examine the tread of the tires for any debris from the crime scene?
Objection. That evidence has already been submitted by the medical examiner.
Well, we're talking about the tires.
So
Yeah,
if you're
overruled. It sounds like he's asking a question as it relates to the tire specifically and not a body, unless it's understanding the question.
I'm asking about the tires on the car, Your Honor.
Oh, my apologies. My apologies.
So,
yeah, I'll allow it.
Did you take soil samples from the crime scene?
Sir, if I took soil sample, yes, we did take soil samples from the crime scene. But the problem with matching the soil samples with that individual area is it will come to the similar sample because the area is literally right down the street.
Okay.
I could throw a rock and hit somebody in the head from there.
Okay, so what if I took two cars with identical set of tires from the same manufacturer? They're gonna have different treads.
With the exact description.
Objection. That requires a tire expert. Is counsel a tire expert?
Well, to be fair, right, prosecution, you opened this door when you submitted the tire treads.
That's fucking true.
When you submitted the tire treads, right?
Yes,
you opened the door to that evidence.
But counsel hasn't produced a witness to put any tire evidence.
Yeah, I know,
Counsel is not an
Mr.
expert
Kidler,
on
but
tire
come on,
treads.
All I'm asking you is
you don't need to be yelling.
the detective here.
Yeah, I didn't
whispered,
yell. Dummy.
From the crime
Whispered,
scene,
dummy.
compared
I
to
didn't know how loud I
soil
was
from
talking. I'm
the
sorry.
crime scene on the
It
tires.
happened again.
Mr. Kidler,
Supposedly
please.
allegedly belonged to my
Quiet.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I accept your apology, sir, but please be fucking quiet.
I'm trying my best.
He's a bit emotional tonight.
I guess so. Mr. Kidler, would you like a
I'm
hug?
sorry.
Mr.
I
Kidler, would you
didn't
like a
know.
hug to calm down?
Caesar's going to trial.
Are you specifically asking about the
God
tires?
damn it.
He's gonna go to jail.
No, that's not how this works, sir.
He's on trial.
No, he's just being. It's just. Why am I explaining this to you? I have a job to do right now. What the fuck?
Go do your job.
Yeah, I should go do my
Wait,
fucking
you're saying,
job.
wait, he's not going to
Did he take-
jail?
Did you find any soil that understand it would be in the same area?
Can we have some silence in the back here? It's very hard to hear.
He already
What's up?
asked and answered the question on the soil. Move on away from the soil.
All right. Yes, sir. What'd you say, Faye?
I'm sorry. It's very hard to hear because there's a lot of conversation happening in the galley.
Okay.
Yeah, I just read him the
So-
riot act. They should shut up.
Might be
Thank you,
the
sir.
officers back here giving you tips.
So when you said you found a pipe on scene, correct?
Yes, sir.
Had DNA from my client.
Wait. Hold on.
All right. Yes, sir.
I did not rule on that last motion.
Okay.
I'm gonna allow him
For
to
real,
ask
though.
that
Be
question
fearless, bro.
about the particular tire tread. I'm gonna allow him to do that because the prosecution.
Hey, Goofy, I need you to take your mask off. I need you to take your mask off. I need you to take your mask off. I need you to take your mask. Take your fucking mask off right now. I will fucking rip that shit off your face.
Okay, I'm done eating. What?
What I was doing with the tire.
I need you to take the mask off.
So what are we doing with the tire?
Oh,
dude?
yeah,
Let's
of
say
course,
that me and
Mr.
you bought,
Yeah, thank you.
bought a set of tire,
Welcome,
atomic tires
bitch.
from the same shop, right? Do tire? Have in your experience? I don't know if you've messed with the car, but do you believe that the tires would have different, let's say, tires treads than like fingerprints?
on Twitter now.
Yes and no. And
Well,
they do. It
let's
is
clarify.
pretty much. So, for
Let him answer the
example,
question, please, defense. Go ahead, detective.
so let's say when you drive down the street, right, and you drive, let's say you drive 5 hours or you drive every day to work, your tire thread is gonna get lower and lower and lower, right? Now the imprint will eventually change. Now the imprint of a tire, sometimes if you don't have the correct rotation on your tires correctly, or if you don't have the correct I forget the exact word for it, but your tires would show a different, like you actually mentioned, and thank you for saying this, is a fingerprint. Now, when we ran the analyzation on the tires, right, it showed the exact match. So if going back to what you asked me, defense, or yes, you asked me if we go and we go buy a car, wouldn't those same tires would it match? No, it would not. They might have the first thread. They would might if they both came out right out the dealership, yes, they would match. But we're not talking about fresh dealership cars.
Okay. So let's go back to the scene, right? On top of the pipe now. You answered my questions on the tires. Thank you very much, Mr. So the pipe. Are you aware that my client was also hired to do some maintenance out in that area?
Objection. Evidence is not in the record. He is adding testimony that hasn't been introduced on
I'll
record.
read you. I'll read. So how? You remind me again how you connected the pipe to my client, please.
There was a bloody DNA or bloody cloth that was drenched with your client's DNA with a piece of strip on that pipe.
Okay. So when you collected clothing from his apartment, what color were they?
Green.
Was there any blood or evidence related going back to Mr. Bozeman or my client on those clothing?
No.
Were they clean?
No, sir. His closet was close to be wiped, pretty much missing a lot of clothes.
Well, I mean, maybe he was doing laundry. We don't know. We can't speculate on that.
I looked at his hamper. His hamper was clean.
Okay. So there was nothing in the apartment. Did you find any DNA of Mr. Bozeman in my client's house or apartment?
Yes, on his toothbrush, as we mentioned in the beginning.
You found Mr. Bozeman's DNA on his toothbrush?
Oh, not Mr. Bozeman's, and joints.
I'm saying, did you find Mr. Bozeman's DNA in my client's apartment?
No, that's a negative.
Okay. Now, going to the conversation you had with Mr. McIntyre, correct?
Yes.
What do you think he meant by "they're onto your run"?
Objection. Speculation.
I'm just asking.
He can't testify of what a third party thinks.
Okay. So, but what exactly Mr. McIntyre tell my client, Mr. Joint?
Wait, are you asking Mr. Joint or are you asking me?
I'm asking you, sir.
Okay. Quote, he said, Antwan, run and move everything. They are onto you. Quote.
Do you know what would everything be, sir?
Objection. Speculation. He doesn't know what a third party meant.
Okay.
Sustained. Move on.
Okay. Hold on a second. So all you found was DNA from my client at the crime scene, correct?
No, we found plenty more evidence.
Okay. Is there any evidence? Was there any DNA contaminated cross with Mr. Bowden from Mr. Joint?
That's a negative.
All right, that's all I have, Your Honor. Oh, actually, correction. Why would do you know if my client is affiliated with any gangs or anything?
Yes, sir. As we mentioned in the beginning, he is affiliated with the Form Drive families, and is he still unsure? But currently, what they have been is they've been representing Black during their prior experiences. So possibly they are not representing Form Drive families anymore. That's under speculation that I cannot give you a full answer.
And what would we believe that they were a gang if he was with the Forum Drive family?
Can you please repeat your question?
So what would make you believe, or evidence do you have that suggests my client is gang related with the Forum Drive family?
So they're representing Green. He has multiple green vehicles in his garage. He also has multiple green
I'm
clothes in
sorry,
his
she was
closet,
getting a
and
little
also
mouthy.
residing in
What?
Tamor.
Are you abusing
Tamor
women
did
out here,
also
Mr.
represent
Kildare?
Green. And
No,
but
it's my
the
wife.
funny
It's
part
okay.
is,
It's okay. It's my
they
wife.
also
No, it's not.
they've been
Wife.
known in the past.
Yeah,
They also are known
Apologize.
in
she's
the
okay with it.
database as the Form
No,
Drive family.
She's into it.
Connected. So there's a
Hey-ho.
lot of evidence suggests that they are
She asked me.
connected as the Form Drive families, sir. So
Okay.
I'm not sure where you're trying to go with this.
We'll do you
Because they
too
wear the
if you
color
want.
green.
Not just wear the color green, they associate themselves, they drive the same vehicles, they hang out, they live in each other's houses, their own apartments, they associate as the Form Drive families.
So you've heard them call themselves the Forum Drive family.
Sir, th- did I ever hear them quote say it? No, but plenty of other people have.
So you're saying
Ooh.
they're gang members. Okay. So my next question is, was there any fingerprints of my client on Mr. Bozeman's body or anything relating to him?
No, no, sir.
Do you have any? There's a so at this. Oh, that's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay.
All right. Caesar, is all you have DNA evidence connecting defendant Joint to the scene? Is
No.
that what
Oh,
else do you have besides his DNA at the scene?
we have DNA at the scene. We have his shoe size print at the scene. We also have his tire threads that were connected with his vehicle at the scene. We also have the connection between Tamor warning him. Uh, that's
Ooh.
pretty. That's pretty. And also DNA strip, the DNA blood that was drenched on their footprint threads. That's pretty much what we found at this scene
Do
individually.
we have off prior testifying officer hold on, let me pull up his name. Wasn't there a prior officer today who just testified seeing the same vehicle drive up on the scene?
Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am. My bad. State Trooper Park seen the green sunrise that we found at Tamor McIntyre's house that comes back to on joints.
So, as far as you're concerned, I mean, the green, obviously, it's been evidence today that green and form drive families go together, but even the gang side alone, we've got DNA evidence connecting the defendant here to the scene, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
As far as he was questioning whether there was any DNA of Officer Bozeman found in his defendant Joint's apartment or anywhere. I mean, is it possible that he could have showered, or that maybe there wasn't any DNA transfer when he murdered him?
Yes, ma'am. He had a good 3-week period that he could have showered. He could have got rid of his clothes, got rid of the murder weapon. He could have done a lot of things that could have made himself um, departed or avoid from the scene itself.
And in fact, wasn't it the case that the search warrant wasn't actually effectuated immediately after the crime? Wasn't it days later?
Yes, ma'am. I believe it was 3 days later.
So is it fair to say perhaps he might have showered before returning to his house?
Yes, ma'am, 100%.
Okay. And then with regard to the tire treads, which counsel apparently deems himself a tire tread expert, can you
You
just
will
go?
refrain. You will refrain from making comments to disparage the council, and you will focus on your questions with the detective. This will be
Fair
your
enough,
only
Your
warning
Honor.
on that.
So, with regard to your testimony with regard to the tires, how much experience do you have collecting tire samples in your career?
I've collected tire samples for a long time, probably 20 years plus.
And based on your experience, of 28 years experience, is it your opinion today that the tire tracks collected from the scene match defendant Antwan Joint's green vehicle?
There is no doubt that that matched.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Going back to how he said, no, that's all, man.
All right. No further questions, Your Honor. And
I do have
then,
a couple more questions.
is he?
Defense. She's already done her redirect. If you want to call Caesar up as a defense witness, you can, but just understand that you're gambling if you do that.
All right.
All right. No further questions. We rest our case in chief.
You okay?
All right. I apologize, Joe.
You go ahead and sit down, detective.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Vince, I'll let you make your case. You know what? Let's. We're gonna go ahead and just do a quick 5-minute recess. That went on a little bit long on the prosecution side.
Can we have 10, Judge?
10 minutes. I need to use the restroom as well. So
Thank
if
Thank
we
you.
will rest for about 10 minutes here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is in
Do you want
recess
to
for
take?
10 minutes?
Do you want to take the defense down to sales, please, Sergeant?
Yeah, I can do that.
You.
I told you you should wash it off.
Antwan, come on.
Put on so much this morning.
door?
It's all stuck in your nose.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It smells like.
Antwan, we were.
Wait right there.
How long has this been going on?
Oh yeah, well you're.
There you go, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Mr. Joint, let's get it moving. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there were some holes. I mean, the physical evidence is really solid. Hey, you're not wrong.
Hey, you remember when I have a talking to your officers? They were on my side.
What are you talking about?
One of your officers was on my side.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see him. Was it Belmont? I think I think the other side.
I think
too
he-
fucking full.
I don't know who Belmont is, but I know. I'm pretty sure one was up there.
I don't know. It seemed like he switched sides. Give me a minute. I gotta make a phone call.
I'm gonna be in my head for a minute.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. I'll take you up in a few minutes.
Hello?
What's going on?
Nothing at the hair salon. What's up?
Nothing. We're just taking a recess right now, so I'm just watching the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How's it going?
There's some tough spots in there, but I think there's way too much physical evidence to defend overcome. He's just trying to pick holes at like bullshit, but he doesn't really have anything to beat the evidence.
Right.
But he's gonna present his case after this, and then I should be. Been like 2 hours already.
Mm-hmm.
But and then I got Arthur back there just yelling like a dumbass.
I don't think he meant to.
He was loud as shit. I could hear him all the way at the front. I had to walk back there and have a discussion with him, and of course he got all emotional about it.
Yeah.
So,
That's okay.
but yeah, no, we've been trying to make sure people get their damn masks off, and then of course I look upstairs and you're the only one with a mask on. I'm like, I'm not walking all the way up there. Would have liked to, but you know, the situation, I couldn't actually do that.
I forgot.
It's all right. But
oh my goodness.
I know. I've already put in like a few hours of work. I have to finish that FTO at another day because She really needed some polishing. She just not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
It'll work out.
Yeah, no, she's smart. Like she gets what she's doing. It's just, you're basically trying to build someone up in the image that you need to, not, what they think.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully we get there.
Okay. Well, hopefully I get to see you soon.
Yeah, it should, like I said, he does. I already had a sneak peek at everything. He doesn't seem to have any evidence or witnesses that he's going to call in particular. I think he's just going to call his client and he maybe recall Caesar and question him. And then that might be it, but I don't know for sure. But I don't know. I think the judge had to take a shit.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to find some pizza. That, and then, yeah. This thing will be done soon.
Okay. Well, I will see you in a little while.
Alright, see you in a little while, babe.
Alright, bye.
Bye. What's good?
Goody.
Oh, we're ready already?
No. I'm just trying to find a way to waste more time so I don't think more angry thoughts.
Relax, just relax. The physical evidence is fucking overwhelming. Like, if he wants to pick over some fucking spelling errors, I mean, go for it, but... Literally trying to take the piss out of all the evidence, and it's just not there.
Nope.
So, we should be
Oh,
fine.
I'm not worried.
Unless he's got
And,
something... I've already seen... being a sergeant, I can see all the evidence and everything.
Okay, let's walk out over this way.
Yeah. Now, just stay in here, because I gotta watch him.
Oh, you gotta watch him.
Yeah, I gotta keep eyes on him. So, I'm gonna be brutally honest. This, I don't get what he's gonna try to beat. But
I'm okay with it.
yeah, well,
whatever.
My only issue is they only really presented, shit about the murder. They didn't present any other evidence, so he may only get the murder charge.
Yeah, we can't prosecute on some of the other things.
Yeah, I kind of got that. So it's probably only gonna be the murder charge that sticks. Which I mean is fine. It'll put him away for a long ass time.
Yeah. One sec, I gotta go talk to my people real quick. Sorry.
All right, sounds good.
I don't want to do that to you, but. Dude, do you know where Faye is at?
10-4, she's currently out in the main lobby at the moment. Do you need her?
Yeah, I gotta talk to her about something real quick.
10.
I'm gonna go find some pizza in that desk. All right, I'm gonna go warm up some more.
Do I still have time? Hey, you.
All right, I'm trying to find pizza in this desk. Yep, there it is. Yeah, what's up? Yes, you still have time.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I was away from my voice box.
Yeah, it's fine. I was just looking for pizza in that desk.
You want a spare meat slice?
All right, yeah, grab a slice out of there.
Yes.
Good choice.
Yeah, it's not Munges. Don't worry.
Yeah, that stuff's garbage.
Yeah, I have self-respect.
Ugh.
Hey, you want a slice of this pizza I found in that desk?
What'd you say?
You want a slice of this pizza I found in that desk?
Oh no, that's moldy for sure.
No, it's not. It's fresh. I put it in there earlier.
Okay.
There you go.
Howdy doody. You fed and watered?
What? Huh?
You been fed and watered?
Yes.
Perfect. You doing okay?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
The rashes.
The rashes. Oh yeah, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No, Faye's really good on redirect.
Yes.
She basically just
I need that
jujitsus
hemorrhoid
like
cream.
all of that's bullshit and refocuses,
Yeah,
which is great.
after this bullshit. Or actually, no, there's the morgue. Or not the morgue.
Whoa!
Whoa!
He's trying to send me to the morgue.
I mean, lethal injection.
Beware, hammer's back.
Let's start grabbing them. Turn around.
All right, put your shirt back on. The judge is back out there. Let's just move him.
All
Would have
right,
been
Mr. Joint.
much better in a suit. Just want to let you know.
I know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. We just ran out of time.
Hey.
We're coming up. I'm absolutely not eating the hidden pizza I left down here.
I don't know what you're talking about,
Shush
Caesar.
back
I am
there.
literally on y'all's side. I am a lawyer.
It's fine. It's fine. Until I yell, it's fine. Which I'm gonna yell in 2 seconds.
No.
All right.
All right.
Back in session.
Court is now back in session. The Honorable Judge Hammer still presiding.
Okay, defense. This is your opportunity to make your case. Present any witnesses that you have.
All I have is my client, Mr. Joint.
You want to bring your client to the stand?
Yes, sir. That's the only witness I have.
Okay.
Mr. Joint, will you please take the stand?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
What?
Oh, okay.
Other side. Other side.
Teleported.
Other side. Cool.
Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
The defense goes first.
Oh.
Yeah, you absolutely.
All right, have a seat, Mr. Joint. At this time, do you swear the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. When is this one?
Mr. Joint,
Yes.
in regards to the murder of Dallas Bozeman, did you have a relationship, Mr. Bozeman?
Yes.
Can you please give the court a description of your relationship with Mr. Bozeman?
He was an officer who liked to come down to my house and say hi.
When you say hi, what do you mean? How lengthy were these conversations you'd have with Mr. Bozeman?
Oh, yo, we're about to get some wild shit.
They weren't too lengthy. We just had a couple conversations.
Okay, so just normal, everyday, short talk.
Yes.
Or okay, so in his official capacity, how many interactions did you have with Mr. Bozeman?
I do not have an exact count.
Were they all bad, good, or
There was some good and some bad.
have you ever been arrested by Mr. Bozeman?
Yes.
Okay. So during these arrests, did he ever treat you harshly or anything?
He has not treated me harshly.
So he treated you pretty fair under the law, correct?
Yes.
And besides Mr. Bozeman, how many other members of the law enforcement community have you had interactions with in their official capacity?
Numerous, uncountable.
Okay. So, out of these individuals, did any of them treat you harshly due to your criminal record or their knowledge of anything you may do in your personal life?
Some have treated me harshly.
Are any of those officers in this courtroom today?
Yep.
I'm not exactly sure.
Okay. So, when they treat you harshly, what they do?
Sent me for outrageous times. Beat me.
Okay. Do you feel like you were treated unjustly because of your prior criminal history?
Yes.
Okay. So, on the day that Mr. Bozeman um, lost his life, did you have any interaction with him on that? And I think it was the 14th of October.
No, I did not have any interaction with him that day.
When was the last time you saw Mr. Bozeman or had any interaction with him?
It has been a couple months since we have had a proper interaction.
Okay. So a couple months, you said. Where was it about the last time you had an interaction in the city? What location were you at when you saw him live?
I believe it was on Forum Drive.
Okay. Well, you do know the prosecution and police have your DNA evidence at the scene of the crime, the scene of murder, correct?
Yes. The
So
scene where I work.
So what do you mean work?
I am hired at that oil field as a side business. I come in occasionally to do demolition work.
Okay, and by demolition work, can you explain the discharge or the field of your duties during this demolition work?
I tear down pipes, random garbage all around the yard.
Okay, so you kind of clean up the place.
Yes.
All right. Um, gloves or anything during this time?
Yes. The oil field has numerous pairs of green gloves.
Okay. So can you tell me why there was a pipe and with your DNA supposedly on it and the blood of the officer?
What day did you say was his murder?
I believe it was the 14th.
On the 14th, I was actively working there. I was temporarily employed and getting paid. And during that, I had been throwing away a pipe that had snapped, and I cut myself on that pipe.
Where'd you cut yourself at?
I cut myself on my finger.
While you were wearing gloves?
Yes.
How did the what kind of pipe was it?
It was a metal pipe rusted.
Okay, and how did it penetrate the glove, or how did it cut your finger if you're wearing gloves?
So the gloves are more of winter type gloves rather than
So they're
heavy
not
duty
protective work
gloves.
gloves. Okay, so they're not built for sharp or serrated objects.
Yes.
Do you have any other injuries from that day?
No other injuries.
What do you how do you get to that job site?
I travel there in my journey.
Your journey.
Yes.
Is that the same thing as a sunrise?
No.
Do you own a sunrise?
I do own a sunrise.
And what color is that sunrise?
That sunrise is green.
Do you have any? Do you know if you have a registration or plates for that vehicle?
I do not have plates or registration. I do not use.
So when was the last time you drove that vehicle?
It's been a while. I do not know the exact day I last took it out.
Have you ever had that vehicle stolen or let somebody borrow it?
It has been stolen in the past.
Okay. Have you ever let anybody borrow your vehicle?
I do not usually let people borrow my vehicle.
So during the testimony of all the witnesses, they brought the name Tamar McIntyre. Do you know Mr. McIntyre?
I do.
What's your relationship with him?
We are friends.
Okay. Well, how close friends are you?
We are pretty close. We live in the same house, share rent.
Okay. So they recovered a bunch of green clothing from your house. Why would you have a bunch of green clothing in your house?
Personally, it is not my clothing.
Okay.
I'm not exactly too sure where the clothing has come from.
Are you a member of the supposed four-armed drive families?
No.
Why would they say you are?
They most likely are trying to set me up the
Who's
best they
they?
can.
We can't hear you say.
The officers.
Why would they try to set you up? Can you
I'm
speak
not
up, please?
exactly too sure. Most
They can't
likely
hear you,
because
Faye.
of my criminal record.
Faye, you gotta speak up.
Sorry. Objection,
There you
Your
go.
Honor. Prejudicial.
Okay, I'll walk around.
To say we're trying to set him up, that's inappropriate.
Yeah, sustained. You're gonna need to go with a different line of questioning here.
So you're not part of a gang, correct?
Part of any gang.
Okay. So I have one question. Did Mr. McIntyre contact you saying they're on to you, get everything moved, or anything along those lines?
No, he is not.
Okay. So Mr. McIntyre did not contact you and tell you to move anything.
He did not.
When they came to collect the evidence from your house, what did they take from you?
I don't think they really took much, and I don't know why.
And you haven't seen it. When was the last time you saw your green sunrise?
It has been a while. I've not seen it since I last had it stolen.
Okay. So, and what size what size shoes do you wear?
I wear a size 12.
You wear a size 12.
Yes.
So, where did they collect 11 from your house?
I'm not too sure.
And so, let's go back to where you get hired on to work at the oil fields, right? What time of day do you normally work there?
I usually work there early-ish in the day.
When you say early, can you give me a time frame when you usually start?
Usually 7 to 11
Is the
in the
sun
morning. The sun was up.
Okay, and what time do you normally complete your tasks for the day or your work?
I normally complete it around 11 or 12.
In the morning or at night?
In the morning.
What do you mean? Okay. So the sun's up.
Yes.
Do you have any reason to be there during hours of darkness?
No.
So you don't go there at all during hours of darkness?
No.
Can you answer me one more question? How did DNA or blood get around the crime scene, and why was the pipe with your blood in the trash can?
Objection.
I was just
Asked and
asking.
answered.
Okay.
Sustained. You did already ask that question. You did already answer it.
I have nothing further this time, Your Honor.
Prosecution.
Thank you, Mr. Joint. I just have a couple follow-up questions. Um, you mentioned that you wore gloves and that you pierced your finger on the pipe. That's correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Can you explain for the court how your flesh was left behind on the pipe and not if that was just a prick?
It was slightly more than a prick, but
Oh,
nothing
so
serious.
you're changing your testimony. It wasn't just a prick. It was a gouging wound through your
Negative. It was
glove.
not a gouging wound.
Prosecution, do not badger this witness. Okay, ask your questions direct. You don't need to testify right now.
Permission to treat the witness as a hostile witness. I mean, I'm on cross examination here.
Yeah. No. You can cross examine him, you can ask your questions, right?
All right. Well,
But this is not your opportunity to testify. So
go ahead
please
then.
keep it respectful in the court.
So it's your testimony now, then, if I understand you, that it wasn't just a prick, that it was a flesh gouging wound. Is that correct?
It was nothing very deep. Blood did come, and I assume some skin came off with it.
Okay.
Not
in
much for
follow-up,
serious injury.
okay, and then in follow-up to your testimony, you said that you were working on October 14th, correct?
Yes.
Well, the issue for today is a murder that occurred on October 4th, which was 10 days prior. What were you doing on October 4th?
It must have been October 4th then.
Oh, so you're not quite sure what date we're talking about?
I am not. I did not keep well with the calendar days.
Okay. And then you also testified on direct examination that you drove a journey to work, and that in fact you did not drive your sunrise to the scene. Um, can you explain why you would have been driving your sunrise to the scene of the crime on October 4th?
I have previously stated that my vehicle was stolen prior to then.
And did you report your vehicle stolen at that time of the murder?
No.
Why not?
Usually I'm the one to handle that.
What does that mean?
I'll find my car, talk to whoever has the car, and work from there.
And you have fairly extensive criminal history, is that fair to say?
It's not too long, but I have been arrested in the past.
And you did testify on direct examination that you've been treated harshly, right?
I've been
By
treated
police.
harshly in the past.
In fact, I believe you said you've had outrageous treatment, you've been beaten,
That is correct.
and you thought that your treatment was unjust.
That is correct.
And so is it fair to say that perhaps you were seeking out some justice for all your unjust treatment on October 4th?
Negative.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Defense, it's your opportunity for a redirect if you want to take it.
Mr. Joint.
Yes.
A couple questions. When you work out the oil field, what kind of footwear do you wear?
I wear boots.
Okay. And you stated prior, how was your relationship with Mr. Bozeman?
It was fine. Nothing terrible.
And for one more, how would he treat you if he had to deal with official capacity and as you were viewed as a criminal or suspect?
Could you please repeat that statement?
So how did you say he dealt with you in a professional manner if he had to deal with you in
I believe
his
that was
duties?
asked and answered on direct.
I know. I just want to restate it. You said that he treated you fairly, correct?
Yes.
Oh, that's all I have, Your Honor.
Mr. Taymor, you can take your seat.
What's that?
Not
Not
Tamor.
Mr. Taymor, Mr. Joint. I apologize.
Can you speak up, Your Honor? I can't hear you.
He can go ahead and take his seat.
Thank you.
Okay, defense. Do you have any other witnesses that you want to call at this time?
No, Your Honor, that was it.
All right. I will allow the prosecution to make their closing argument before the court.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think that the evidence today speaks for itself. We've got overwhelming, not only direct evidence tying defendant Bozeman here to the scene of the crime, but we also have significant circumstantial evidence that came not only from the testimony of the officers, but from defendant Bozeman himself. So let me just briefly state the direct physical evidence tying him to the scene. We have got DNA evidence that ties him to the crime scene. Flesh removed from a metal pipe, the metal pipe that is potentially the murder weapon as testified to by the medical examiner, with green cloth. The green cloth, he never testified on direct whether or not his glove was ripped apart and he lost any sort of cloth off of that. But regardless, green is the predetermined color of the gang affiliation with this. But needless to say, we have DNA evidence tying him to the scene. DNA doesn't last forever, Your Honor. DNA is recovered in real time on the scene. That was what was recovered there, and it was not that of a pinprick finger injury under working gloves. This was a DNA recovered from transfer and from force. And on top of that, we've got tire treads that we've heard testimony directly from experts from CID who have a career length of experience dealing with taking tire tread evidence, matching to Mr. Joint's car. We have testimony from the initial officers about the scene, what it was, Mr. Bozeman dealt with before he was finally, if it's fair to say, I think he was probably blessed with death after the long torture that he endured. The state of his body, the fingernails being ripped slowly from his hands, 9 teeth found on the scene, his knees bent backwards. I mean, I can't fathom how much pain that caused him. And then the last insult to injury was the F for Form Drive families carved into his bare chest. I mean, it's just absolutely degrading. And if anything, what's been displayed here is defendant Joint's complete gross disregard for the value of human life. There's no question about the scientific connection between the DNA on the scene and Mr. Joint. His DNA, toothbrush, everything has matched him to the scene. There's no question he was there. His footprints were there, as we heard from CID officer Caesar. His footprints were confirmed based on the search warrant that this court granted for his residence, matching his shoe prints to the scene, size 11. He testifies today in self-serving testimony that he's a size 12. What evidence is presented that he's actually a size 12? The only evidence that's been presented today is that from the state, which is that there was size 11 taken from the scene and size 11 shoes taken from his house. So there's quite frankly no valid evidence today to show that he's a size 12. Those are self-serving statements. They're a complete red herring. And the final thing that I'd like to end on is, we've got clear motive. His counselor would like to have the court believe that, he might not have a specific agenda against, Officer Bozeman specifically. but he has an agenda against law enforcement in its entirety. And Mr. Bozeman was part of law enforcement. He said that he felt that he had been unjustly treated by law enforcement, and that he'd been beaten, and he had motive to enact revenge on law enforcement, as do a lot of gangs in town. They don't like law enforcement. And the fact that, maybe he did or did not have a lot of interactions with Bozeman, but unfortunately we can't bring Bozeman here to testify about that. He's dead. That book is closed. Guy has motive. He hates law enforcement, and Bozeman represented law enforcement. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is an open shut case of gang retaliation on an innocent law enforcement officer who is nothing but someone who put his life on the line to protect citizens. We've spent a lot of hours and time putting this case together piece by piece, following the line of the law to make sure that every search warrant was conducted properly, that we put our case together such that the court can view the evidence. And unfortunately, through that process, there's been a lot of injuries and a lot of additional injury to law enforcement officers just to get him here today. This is a career criminal. It's time to bring justice to this town and pull him off the streets. And that's why we respectfully request that he be sentenced to life. And we're, with the possibility of parole after 2,500 months, subject to parole and probation. Thank you, Your Honor.
Defense, I'll let you make your closing argument.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you very much. As I stated in my opening statement, it's very sad when we have lost life. It doesn't matter if it's a police officer or anybody or a normal citizen. It's just sad. But I believe my client should walk out of here today based on a few things. The inconsistency in the police reports with his name, the lack of evidence on the fact that the positive identification of his vehicle. The only thing that he shared in common that I've noticed was the color of the vehicle. There was no plates on the photos. They took a pair of shoes from his house, but I don't remember hearing where, of size 11 that, I wear size 11. They could have been my shoes for all we know. There was nothing saying there was dirt on the shoes from the scene of the crime. My client also had a very good relationship with Mr. Bozeman, even if Mr. Bozeman was arrested, he treated him fairly. Based on facts, it seems like the police just want to find and pin somebody for the murder of one of their fallen officers. And I do feel for them. It is very sad. But the fact is, there's evidence, but there's also misfumbling within the case files, and some of the officers not sure of what they can prove besides saying his DNA was at the crime scene. My client also stated that he worked at the place of the scene earlier, and it has been undetermined when his vehicle was stolen. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Okay. The court will stand in recess for 10 minutes as I look over the evidence from both sides and make a determination.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Court is now in recess.
Oh, thank God I can yell again. Oh. What? You're the one who's constantly making all the noise with your shush, with your shh. We're having important conversations here.
We're here supporting.
What?
Well, it's out of our hands now. We'll see what they say.
I'm disappointed in you. You could have fucked him so much harder on cross-examination.
To the left, to the left. Oh my god.
Hmm.
That's not good.
Oh no, it's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. It's exactly what we wanted.
I'll be back in my head for a minute.
Yeah.
Have fun with that. So don't get me wrong, he didn't present any evidence, but he definitely
He
presented.
doesn't have any
He doesn't have
formal
any.
payment. He doesn't have anything. Shoe
Got no
sizes
evidence
doesn't
that-
actually matter. We tried to get them tied up on things, and it's exactly what we wanted them tied up on. Yeah, no, it didn't sound good, right? It doesn't sound good, but it
No,
is.
it sounds like he's got a perfectly reasonable reason to be there, but they can't actually. Don't have anything bedtime statements. Statements of a guy accused of murder.
And a statement of a guy that also has bank robbery, attempted murder, ×3.
The shoes is a little.
The
You
shoes is ill.
Should have had him take off his shoes.
Those are his prison shoes, though.
Yeah, so you, true.
Hey, it's out of our hands at this point.
Yeah, exactly. The judge.
We do as do sees fit at this point, to be honest with you, brother.
Yeah, I hear you.
Alright, I'm gonna go check on them upstairs. I'll be back.
Sounds good. Almost done. Proper trial. I forgot how long it fucking. You make a mess in there, did you?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it looks fine. Only a little dribble.
Yeah, no. The shoes thing was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you chewing on?
Had to find a hot candy.
Nice. The question is, what kind of hard candy is it?
I didn't actually find any hot candy. Got them Hall's defense.
You know what? Props. You found something.
Yeah. So, depending on which way this goes, either we'll take you back up to jail the way we took you here, or you walk out the door.
And you can get your ointment. Either
Yeah,
way.
either way you can get yourself some ointment.
Woo, woo, woo.
He's more hyped about the ointment.
Yeah.
You gonna get the no-name brand or the shelf?
I mean, I don't have to pay for it, so it best be shelf.
You going for expired or unexpired?
I don't have to pay for it, so not expired.
You fucking right. See, he knows how to play the system.
Here.
Yeah.
He wants his 3 and free. Fuck. Jesus. Wasting taxpayers' dollars. those fuckers.
Yeah, it's
knocked off for like
he's
an hour.
he's deliberating right now, so we'll have a verdict the next time we go back upstairs. She presented like 5 or 6 witnesses, then we had a recess. We didn't even start on time. We started at 10, so I mean it's technically only been like 2 hours. So it's not been a long trial, but fuck's sake, I just want to go back to work or go home.
Yeah, I would like a break after this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll get a break, don't worry.
Might go home too.
I knew you might, but you might not.
You might go home.
You might go home.
You might go to new home.
You might go to new home. That's true. You might go to a new home.
I think I like my own home.
I don't know. You might want to put in a change of address.
Yeah, your new address would be 947 Bolingbrook.
Yeah. Even if you get out of here, what do you think? You're gonna go home and you're gonna act like you didn't just implicate Tamor in the murder? I mean, am I wrong? It sounded like he was trying to implicate Tamor in the murder and not himself.
And this is where I know my rights.
Mm-hmm. Not gonna lie, what we write up a warrant for Tamor at that point and say, oh, it was Tamor that did it. That's what Antwan here said.
Grove Street even been lighting off tonight. What the fuck?
Nah, it was funny because Roman called me earlier and said shit might pop off again. I ain't heard from Terry at all, so who knows?
Who knows? Nobody knows.
I don't know. We handled it pretty good last night, though.
Yeah. After you hollered at everyone.
Hey, it gets results. Like, they
It
know...
did. It needed to happen.
Yeah, usually when I do it, it needs to happen. Like, I don't do it to be an asshole.
The only time I really start to holler is when I don't have proper charges.
Yeah, exactly.
So I holler a lot.
Yeah, I don't holler to be an asshole. I holler because I know I'm going to get results because people are going to understand I'm serious. God, I could really do a beer.
Bro, same. Burb.
Yep. Gonna burb. It's really quieted down.
Yeah?
Yeah, surprisingly. It was popping off earlier.
Are we chilling now?
Yeah, pretty much. I haven't had to yell over the radio about anything. We're good.
You know, I'm satisfied even if I go to jail because I had a slice of pizza.
Christ. That's all you really wanted?
Yeah, I'm a simple man. What can I say?
You can just go back up there. You can withdraw your plea, say you're guilty, and then we can take you back.
I'm
and
not
get you
guilty,
another
though.
slice. So you're really sticking to the old Tamor did it?
I don't know who did it.
It seemed like you're insinuating Tamor did it.
I didn't even say his name.
You didn't say his name, but his name came up a lot. Actually did.
I did?
Yeah, his name came up.
I said I'm not Tamor.
Yeah, but no, they asked your affiliation with him and everything like that, and you insinuated
Oh,
you
yeah,
live with him. You know, his stuff is in that house too. Like, you insinuated, you know, the stuff they found could not be yours, which means it's Tamor's, which means we
Who
connect
said
Tamor to that.
Tamor's the only other person who lives there?
Yeah. I mean, you didn't
Nobody
bring up
said that.
anybody else. Seem like some kind of way.
Yeah.
A little bit. But what can I do about it? It's not my case. I don't give a shit. Good morning. Good morning. There's lots to do. Good morning. Good morning. Get back to normal.
Can't blame you. Gotta get my retweets in before I get sent to jail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I get out of here and go home.
Same.
TV's in prison.
But there's a TV in my house.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Who's calling?
Might as well.
All right. Sweet. Hey, yo.
Hey, boss man, they're ready for him.
All right, come on, bud. Shirt back on. Get us moving.
Gotta say, appreciate putting your shirt back on. I thought it was thought that was gonna be a fight.
We move.
And it's a fight he's not gonna win, so okay.
Oh, I know. Just last effort, you know.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I'm not looking to get sweaty out here.
No. After you, homie.
I don't think you want to sit down. Just stay standing there.
Okay. A lot to say on this particular case. Murder is probably one of the most heinous crimes that can be committed in the state of San Andreas. And as such, the standard for an individual being convicted of murder is also exceptionally high. The state of San Andreas, like every court in the United States, operates on the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. That means the prosecuting party has an obligation to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that
Oh
the
shit.
suspect
He's
committed
gonna
a
be
crime.
not guilty.
In this particular case, we have a long list of charges across the board. And I'm going to go through the charges one by one and render a verdict on each charge. And at the end, I will explain my
The murder
judicial
charge is the
reasoning behind the
only one that
decisions
I'm
that I've
concerned
made.
about, and I
Okay,
feel like he's
so
gonna come back not.
the defendant, if I can have you please stand and come here to the.
Stand up. Come up.
On the charge of first-degree aggravated fleeing and eluding of a Leo, the court defines the defendant not guilty. On the charge of kidnapping, the court finds the defendant not guilty.
Yep, it's over.
On the charge of possession of a firearm or concealed weapon with a history of violent crime, PD, I want to remind you that in these particular situations, you need to place a photo of the weapon that you found inside your report, which will suffice for evidence submitted in this court, or present the weapon inside of court. Neither one of these things was done, so I find the defendant not guilty. On the charge of aggravated possession of a controlled substance, the standard remains the same. A photo must be taken of that substance and placed into the report as evidence, or in lieu of that, presented into the court of evidence. Neither one of these things was done. I find the defendant not guilty. On the charge of dangerous discharge of a firearm, PD did not provide any gunshot residue or evidence of a firearm being fired in this court or in the report, so I find the defendant not guilty. I'm going to look at these other charges as well. One second.
If the kidnapping comes back not guilty, then the murder charge comes back not guilty. Because it means they didn't prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he took him, which means they can't prove they murdered him.
All right. For the case number ending in 10591, habitual carrying of a firearm or weapon while committing an offense, evidence not sufficient in this case, I find the defendant not guilty. Possession of a Leo weapon class 2, firearm was not presented in evidence, nor was it presented in this court to defend that charge. I find the defendant not guilty. On the secondary charge of kidnapping, once again, none of the officer testimony presented here in court, none of the evidence presented here in court would justify the charge of kidnapping. I find the defendant not guilty. And the charge of armed robbery, none of the testimony provided here in this court from any of the witnesses or any of the evidence submitted to this court would suggest armed robbery.
Went for the murder
I find the defendant not guilty. For possession of a Leo weapon class 1, this would be the same circumstance as Leo weapon class 2. Evidence was not provided in the report. Again, photograph is necessary, or we would need to have it presented here in court. That wasn't done. I find the defendant not guilty.
Excuse me.
You want to take care of that for me, please?
Yes, sir.
On this last
get out there. Get out there. Go.
And I want
at least secure the lobby. At least secure the lobby.
On their efforts,
Joel, please protect me. I don't want to die yet.
You provided a thorough
secure the door. Secure the door.
You showed that you went in depth in your ability to collect that evidence. You did present the evidence you had here in court, and the prosecution does make a compelling argument based off the evidence that they have. When we look at a murder charge, we must rule on motive, means, and opportunity. When it comes to the metal pipe in question, CID and the prosecution, you presented testimony from the medical examiner that would suggest that the victim in this crime was beaten with a blunt force object. You found a blunt object on the scene. That object had the DNA of our suspect or our defendant on it. The defendant even said in their own testimony that that was their DNA on that item. There is one glaring piece that was not brought up by the prosecution, which causes doubt on the means in which the suspect was killed.
Medics, right?
The blood or DNA from Bozeman being found on the metal bat. Neither the evidence presented in this court nor any testimony from any of the officers on scene would indicate that Bozeman's DNA or blood was on that metal pipe. While I understand the argument when it comes to motive, that based on the defendant's testimony here in court, he does have issues with law enforcement. The state makes a compelling case that his anger and issues with law enforcement could have been used and taken out on Bozeman. I understand that argument. However, the fact that we cannot link the metal pipe beyond a reasonable doubt to the murder of Bozeman shows me that we do not have adequate means. While it pains me to say this, in the case of murder of a civilian, I find the defendant not guilty. Mr. Joint, I would like to apologize on behalf of the state of San Andreas. You are free to go, sir. Court is adjourned.
Court is adjourned.
Wow.
Good.
Wow.
Look out behind you, sir.
Nope.
You want me to lock up here, sir?
That was objectively
3 back on Elliot.
verdict I have ever had to render in my entire career.
Welcome aboard.
That was, yeah, but they missed.
And it's hard for me because CID clearly put in tons of effort and energy inside that, and they clearly showed that they covered a lot of bases. But I have to rule based off of reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
And so the fact that the DNA from Bozeman was not found, or at least wasn't presented in court,
right,
on the alleged weapon means that I don't have a means in which he was killed beyond a reasonable doubt. And
Yeah.
while it pains me to issue a not guilty verdict, my hope is that it is an extensive learning lesson for CID in these cases and how they present to court. And
Yeah.
I certainly don't want them to be discouraged from this.
I think
want them
C's
to
gonna be discouraged.
He's pissed, but I want them to I want them to understand the things that are required in order to render a verdict like that. You know what I mean? That was not an easy thing for me to do.
There was nothing connecting that to actually hitting Bozeman with it. Just the
That
fact
was hard.
that he had that, yeah.
That was hard for me, and I think the other stuff, them being found not guilty, is just an oversight on their part. You know, they focused so much on the murder charge, they just forgot about the other stuff.
Yeah.
But even though they forgot about it, it still needs to be presented in court. So I know there's going to be anger about it, but I'm 99% sure that almost all of our judges in that same circumstance would have ruled.
Yeah, it was. It looked really looked terrible. Like it looked terrible. It just there was a lot of stuff to put in there, but nothing to particularly connect them to actually bashing the shit.
Right. And that's the part that gets me, because we know that Antwan was there, right? I mean, he worked there on scene. He was there at the location. His vehicle was there.
Yeah.
He used the vehicle there. They recovered that vehicle there. They
Yeah.
got his DNA from his apartment. They matched the DNA onto the metal pipe. But they couldn't establish the means. So they're probably going to have a conversation with the officers on how they testify. That's the one thing that was
I think
missing.
I can hear the
swear to
lawyers
God,
screaming at them right now.
I swear to God, I'm telling you, had they been able to show me that one piece of evidence that Bozeman's blood was on that metal pipe, I could have rendered a guilty verdict on that.
Yeah, for sure. There just wasn't anything. There was plenty of shit putting him there, but not anything connecting him to the actual act.
Right. So, anyway, I'm gonna fly out.
All right, sounds good. I'll lock up the door behind you,
the
sir.
Inevitable shitstorm. All right, thank you.
It's gonna be real bad.
They came of it, but are they Do they physically have that on them? Do they hold like
No.
there has
And that's
to
part of
be-
something that
that's part of why
hugely
it
protects
has
cops.
to meet it has to meet certain requirements.
Dispatch. 416 here. Antwan Joint not guilty of murder. Yeah, I was supposed to.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going. What are you doing?
Just walking out to the parking lot and picking up my car.
Ooh. You're not patrolling anymore?
I definitely need a little break after that. It was like 4.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Just standing there and shushing people and making sure nobody was a dumbass.
Yeah.
So, kind of a long day.
Yeah.
Plus, I've been working for like 4.5, 5 hours before the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you up to?
At school, we're listening to some music and dancing.
Alright, I might punch out and take a little break and come down.
Okay, sounds good. I'll see you in a bit.
Alright, see you in a little bit.
Alright, bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, is that panic code 4 at this point? What the fuck happened?
10-4, panic's code 4.
Hypothetically, the front end of a cruiser smashing into an officer does not feel good, but hypothetically, we're all good.
10-4. I'm gonna be 37 at MLPD and then go 1042 for a little bit. Yeah, we definitely took a fat L in that court case.
Who was the judge?
Judge Hammer.
I'm not surprised.
I'm gonna be brutally honest. They had everything to connect that guy to the scene, but nothing to connect him to the actual act. And the judge said it to me himself in the chambers there.